We come to you from the startup capital of India, which is Bengaluru, and I have the Vidhana Soudha, the beautiful Vidhana Soudha right behind me, and such a beautiful day because it is also an important day. It marks the budget day, the interim budget, and right before that I have with me a couple of startup founders where we are going to ask them about their expectations, and I'm sure expectations are running high, starting with Mr. Varun, who runs an e-commerce home decor brand. What are your expectations in this?
So I think on the whole, there are several expectations that the startup ecosystem has from the budget this year. Chief among them, improving the ease of doing business. I think we're currently 63rd. There's a lot of room to both simplify and rationalize compliance for young businesses. In incentivizing R&D and technology programs would go a long way because that's kind of the need of the hour today, no matter what business you're in. Also, investing further in better multimodal access across the country, simply because that infrastructure enables better movement for people and goods, which will help us all grow.
Also, when it comes to startups, very rarely we hear about a mental health startup. I'm sure it is going to be a different brand, different industry altogether, which has gained a lot of focus, especially after COVID. Budget and mental health, do they go hand in hand?
Well, thank you, Pratibha. Until now, I think mental health has always played a second fiddle to the overall healthcare itself. So my things that I'm going to really watch out for is whether the allocation of budget can really be beyond that 1% of the overall health budget itself. The other things that I'm going to really keep a close watch to on this budget is if mental health, managed care, the care that takes prolonged recovery, be it mental health, physiotherapy, our services in senior care and child care, all the space that we operate in, is really important to stay invested. This will only reduce the further burden within the system. The allocation and the specific mentions in the insurance is one space that I would say. I would also go down to check, ask the finance minister and see if there is an allocation for a prescribed prescription, which is your 10A and the 10B for export-oriented units, the free trade zones. Why not consider it for medical tourism and make that recognition? These are broader sections that I'm going to keep a close watch to, where's the mental health and healthcare services space.
He's Mr. Sandesh Cadabam, who runs a mainstream healthcare facility as well as this particular mental health and physiotherapy startup. I have with me Mr. Rohan, who runs an EduTech. Now, when it comes to education, what are your expectations from this particular budget?
We have generally been lagging behind in terms of allotment. So we are hoping that at least it should come up to international standards so that the younger population of India can develop accordingly, and it can match with what as a country we have as an aspiration.
I mean, what better way to end this with food, right? So we have with us Mahesh Reddy from Go Pizza, and he's been saying that, this year has been extremely good for him.
Great, I think so. All the investors are waiting and watching at India. We are at the right place, because of potential and the scalability model which is available. My only request will be that a lot of investment, a lot of global investors wants to invest. Ease of investment to do the business will help us. And the second thing, we just opened 50 outlets and now we'll be opening 100 outlets in this year. I feel the game changer will be if input tax can be given to us. We can open 500 outlets and we can give a lot of opportunities to expand everywhere. A lot of consumption will increase. A lot of employment will happen. So my only request is the GST input tax to the food industry for this year.
Well, taxation has been one of the contentious points when it comes to FMCG brands. Do you also agree? Because he is also from the food industry. Biggies Burger, Abhilash.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Mahesh told. So we have two challenges in food industries. One is input tax. Obviously, we are not able to get that input tax because if you see now, the inflation is a major role. So one is inflation, second is the tax part. When I say inflation, so your real estate cost increased, and your logistic increased, manpower increased, and your raw material cost also increased. So the tax for real estate is 18%, for raw materials it varies between 5 to 28%. One is yes, tax input, that is number one point. Number two is if the government can look in relaxation in the tax part, or else some lowering the taxation, whereas when I say like 18% in real estate and 5 to 28% in that, if they lower the taxation part, it's really good. So that we can also scale up, as Mahesh mentioned. So right now, if the KVSN industry, if you see in India, it's in FY20, it is 4.5 lakh crore, whereas it's estimated 6.5 lakh crore in FY25. So there is a significant 50% growth. So we can see more growth if the taxation is taken care.
Well, I hope the finance minister is listening to all your points that you've raised. And remember, India has emerged as the third largest ecosystem for startups. And unfortunately, it has fallen down to the 5th place when it comes to global funding for startups. And I hope this budget would definitely turn out to be the turning point for the startup industry in India. With camera person Govind, Pratibha Raman in Bengaluru for NDTV.